The reason that you have what you have now is because somebody before you paid the price. You get to have the nicest school, you have the #1 rated school, you have the school that everybody talks about. I have people stop me every day, substitute teachers, parents. People said, Mr. Suriano, I ain't saying anything bad about anybody, but I'm just telling you, I sub all over the district, and you have the best school. And I just very humbly say, thank you very much, and I know that. I know that. But it didn't get here by accident. Things didn't just happen by accident. Somebody before you. One time I did a favor for a friend. I was coaching basketball. That's not my forte. My best friend just got the job. And he said, Tom, I need you to be my assistant. I said, I don't know anything about basketball. He said, I don't need you to know anything about basketball. I just need you to be my main supporter, be there every day, go to practice every day. And it was called the dark days of basketball, meaning they had lost like 2 seasons in a row that they didn't win a game. And he called all the kids in, and he sat them down. And he says, I'm not going to be honest with you. I'm not going to tell you the politically correct thing. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell you we're going to come out, we're going to win all these championships. He said, but what I am going to tell you is we are going to get better. Day by day, year by year, we're going to get better. And he said, seniors, raise your hand. And the seniors raised their hand. He said, you are going to pay the price of the future. You are going to be the foundation that we built this program on. He says, and I don't know how many wins and losses we're going to have, but we are going to start today, and we're going to build it. So I walk into Lincoln School, and I give my first talk to the student body. And I said, all right, this is what I want to do. This is what we can do as a school and as a student body. And the 8th graders, they weren't buying it. They weren't buying it. They already had their own program up and running, and they weren't going to change it. They weren't going to believe it. 7th graders didn't know what to believe. They kind of feared the 8th graders or intimidated by them, so they said, you know, we'll listen to the guy. He sounds all right, but I'm going to do what the 8th graders tell us to do. And then I went to the 6th graders. And I pleaded with them. I said, 6th graders, please buy in. We will do better things and greater things than you could ever imagine. But you've got to buy in. You've got to believe in your heart that we will do the right things. We will accomplish great things together. And you will enjoy your school. And you can be the envy of every other school. But you got to pay the price. Somebody has to be the foundation. So I didn't ask the 8th graders. No, I didn't ask the 7th graders. I asked a bunch of young kids. These aren't high school kids. These are middle school kids right out of elementary school. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And they wanted a nice place to come to, and they deserved having a nice place to come to. And so there they are staring at me. I said, someday you'll be the leaders of the school. And when you're the leaders of the school, we will turn the keys over to you. We will give you the keys to the school. And you can run the school. But every day, every year, you've got to buy into it. So we started with the 10-point value system. And then we made that our foundation. We said if we're on the same page, then we have a chance. We have a chance to turn things around, to make this the #1 school, the best school in the area. So we put in a 10-point value system. Today, I am bringing you those little kids. I asked those little kids to come back. They're your neighborhood, they're your school, they're the Heritage Lions. They sat right in your seats, and they believed in all their heart, because they wanted something nice. They believed in their heart. They bought in, and every day. And when they were 8th graders, man, was I proud of them. They had the swagger. They had the swagger. They knew we arrived. They knew they were the leaders. They knew they were the boss of the school. And I could turn it over to them and trust them. The teachers trusted them. I trusted them. And they did good things. 8th graders, that's why I always tell you, you're the leaders. 8th graders, you're the leaders. You do those things. Now, these kids that I invited back today, they're just a small sample of what's up at that high school. but they are the nucleus. They are the nucleus. They're the ones that I went to. They're the ones that I counted on. When sometimes you get in trouble when you come in and I point at you and I said, I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you. I shouldn't have to watch you. We went out back and we sat and we were reminiscing out back. I walked away and I told you when I took over, I said, when I was at a school and I knew that we were all had the right character, two things. One is when I walked to the microphone and everybody gets quiet out of respect. Second thing is, I used to go to other schools and I used to get all excited and fired up. I always lost my keys. Always lost my keys in my phone because I'm always talking and I'm always jumping around. So here I am, I'm walking away, and I went, oh, geez, I can't, did I bring my keys outside or did I leave them in my office? And there they were. They still covered my back. They said, we got you, Mr. Suriano, and I left my keys and phone outside. They already picked them up for me. They already knew to take care of me. That's when you know when I say lions helping lions. Lions helping lions. One team, one heartbeat. You take care of each other. Those things will never go old. They'll never grow old. They'll never be outdated. There's certain things, guys, they'll never get outdated. This 10-point value system will never get outdated. You just adapt it to your age. Middle school, okay, high school, it means something a little bit different. As an adult, it means something a little bit different. But it never really gets outdated. Now, you want to see what a transition from middle school to high school looks like? You want to see what success looks like? You want to truly believe in your heart for you little kids that are sitting in the back? Knowing this is what you could be for the 8th graders that have got about 15 days and you're going to go up there with the big boys with 1,600 kids on that campus? Are you going to make it or not make it? These kids have made it. Not only they made it, they made a great impact. They're a Heritage Line kid that's made a great impact. As I call their name, stand up and give them a round of applause. Jordan Dardis. Taylor Shackelford. Cameron Royster. Alexis Smith. Sydney Johnson. Emma Rose. Dion Presley. There's your Heritage Lions, guys! That's who you are! That's who you can be! I'm so proud of these kids. I'm so proud of them. Now, they're going to tell you how they got there. They're going to tell you how they got there. They can tell whatever stories they want to tell, and then you can ask whatever questions you want to ask. Because now I'm going to give them the mic, and I'm going to walk away because they've heard all my stories. They can give all my speeches. All right? Who's first up? Who wants to go? Kim Royster. Let's go, Kim.
The biggest transition coming from middle school to high school, I think, was the motivation. Like that comes in with the 10-point value system, like the good attitude equals good grades. Like in middle school, like you can come in on a bad day and like your teachers are there to like motivate you like to do your work. They're always like checking up on you, making sure your grades are decent. But the minute you walk into high school, it's like a reality check in a way. Because you have teachers, they give you work, but it's your responsibility to always do it. No one's there to like, basically here you guys are spoon-fed in a way. Like you guys are a little spoiled, but in high school, you're just out on your own. And what goes back to that good attitude equals good grades, like we're here at the end of the year, like you guys are all happy, like you guys are just having fun basically, like especially 8th graders, you're excited to go to high school. Once you get to high school, it's just let me out of here. I want to leave. It's a little overwhelming, but that's when you really have to like, it's crunch time, basically. You want to end with a bang.
I think the biggest transition from middle school to high school is like taking care of business, because if you don't take care of business, then it's not going to get you anywhere. Like your grades and stuff, like you can't just slack off at the beginning and care at the end, because it's not going to get you nowhere. And then like it's just gotta go in there with a positive attitude and say you're gonna get through the day with doing your work and, not trying to show off in front of your friends or just being on time.
But no, the biggest transition from middle school to high school is homework. They tell y'all now, man, like high school is no joke. They just do so much homework. So yeah, like Kim said, it's more motivation. You just gotta do your homework every day. If not, you ain't gonna make it. It is a reality check when you get to high school. That goes with the 10-point value system. Work ethic equals success. You have to have a good work ethic in high school. If not, it's a reality check. You're really not gonna make it.
I agree with Kim and Jordan. Yeah, good work ethic equals success. And when you're in high school, you do have to have motivation. For me, my motivation is my sports. I play football, basketball, and baseball, and without my schoolwork, then I'm not going to be able to play any of those sports. And when I go to college and better my future, that's what I want to go do. And sports is my motivation, and to be able to play my sports, I gotta get good grades, be respectful, and privilege is equal responsibility. Be responsible in the classroom, get to play your sports, get to be in clubs, do whatever you want. You just gotta have something to motivate you.
High school was big. There's just a lot of people. It's hard to learn. Like your first few days, you got to meet new friends, and it's just crazy, being there with 2 other schools. So, but you got to focus on learning and just be a good person. Like treat everybody with respect, and then play sports, be active, because that's what got me through. I got 2 more weeks. I'm going to college, so it's been crazy. So good luck.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself real quick. Okay, so I'm a junior, like most of them sitting there. I'm pretty involved in the school. Like I play volleyball. I'm in several of our clubs. I do as many classes as I can, and that's kind of what I have to say to you about. Up in the high school, like there's so much you can do when it goes from extracurricular activities to even just your plain classes. I mean, you could go anywhere from regular to AP. And that, you just have to take advantage of it. Like, high school is the time to figure out what you want to do. I mean, yes, you have in college, but there's only so much time in college. I mean, I would probably say about my sophomore year, I kind of finally figured out what I wanted to do. And I knew the classes I wanted to take. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. There is times where you're like, oh my goodness, I might just fail. But you have to look past that. You have to push yourself, because that's what high school is about. It's all about trial and error. If you don't try, you'll never know what you can do. And so when you get up to high school, know that it's going to be a lot of work, no matter what classes you take. If you're in AP, or even if you're in regular, it's going to be a lot of work. But you have to push through it, because in the end, when you look back, you're going to go, wow, look at what I've become. Look at what I've done. So just, when you come up to high school, don't sweat too bad. I mean, we've all been a freshman, or will be a freshman. It's scary, it's really scary. But I mean, you have kids that you'll meet, you'll make brand new best friends, you'll make so many friends through all the activities you have. And just use that, like, better yourself when you come up to the high school. Do your work, and just have fun. Do sports, do clubs, just do whatever you can.
kind of scared about going to high school? Yeah, okay, good. Well, not good, but don't let these kids scare you. High school is scary, but you can get through it. But you have to recognize there are going to be a few differences. I had a little note card because I got nervous last time. Okay. High school is huge. Like, there are so many different kids, it's not even funny. Like, no, stop laughing, it's not funny. They're just all different, they have different things they like to do, like sports. I personally love choir. I'm a choir geek. Music is my thing. But, I mean, you gotta realize the one team, one heartbeat thing applies to absolutely everything. Everything, like, even choir, you're a team in choir. People don't quite realize it and recognize it as a team, but you have to work together. You breathe together, you sing together. You're together all of the time, all the time. So if you want to be successful in high school, you gotta at least try to respect everybody. Like, you gotta give them what you want in return. And also the homework, not lying at all. Essays out the wazoo every year. It's crazy. And like Emma said over there are so many opportunities up there. Like, man, there are drama clubs, science clubs, National Honor Society. You can get involved in anything as long as you just get involved. You'll be a lot happier and do a lot better if you find things that you want to do. Just spur of the moment, I decided, hey, maybe I want to join drama club, see what it's like. I did, and I loved it. I made a lot of new friends, and that's what it's going to be mostly about, is just trying to weave your way through this crazy maze of high school. So it won't be that bad, but you just got to believe in yourself and remember the 10-point value system, because it'll help you a lot, as obviously they have said. So hang in there, guys.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, okay? That's an old saying. So I wanted you to see. Girls, are we done? Okay, I wanted you to see, and I want you to grow up a little bit. I wanted you to see the faces of the same kids that walked in your shoes and had to do the same thing, that went on to be ultra successful at the high school. I could bring down more kids, but these are the kids that I know that I counted on to walk the halls and do the right things in classes. Because character is what you do when what? So you will adapt. You will adapt the 10-point value system. You tell me when we hung this up, because I'll be leaving you. This is my last time. Now I'm not going to talk too much or get too personal, because I get emotional. But you tell me this is the last time I'm going to be able to sit you down as a group and talk to you and prepare you for what's coming up. You tell me we are here to learn and to treat everyone with respect, no matter what level you go to, whether it's high school, college, or your workplace. You go there, you learn your trade, you learn your school, you go to college, and respect is always the number one thing. Respect. You slide on over. Where in the world where you don't use common sense, common respect, common courtesy? Tell me where that wouldn't fit in at, kids. You go over there. If I had to leave you with one, as you pass through middle school, high school, college, I would probably say that one. If somebody said, you know, Tom, Mr. Suriano, what if you only could do one, would probably be the third one. Doing what is popular is not always right, and doing what's right isn't always popular. You're going to be faced with some tough decisions, kids. You're going to be faced with tough decisions. And that's when you're going to have to stand up. And you're going to have to live with yourself. And that's the one I would hang my hat on. All right? Doing what is popular is not always right. Especially with the media that you have today, with the Facebook and the texting and all the things you're doing with your technology. You're going to have to make a decision. Good attitude equals good grades. Well, if you want to talk about school, okay, we can say good grades. But basically, a good attitude is what's going to separate you from a lot of other people. There are going to be people that's more talented than you. One of the best things that ever happened to me was I was average. Average at everything. There's guys that have a lot better talent than me. But I watched the people that had talent, whether it be academically, athletically, fine arts. But if they didn't have a good attitude, you look at some of the people out there today. All you have to do is turn on the TV when I talk about the media. Look at an athlete. Look at a movie star. Look at a pop singer. Look at some of these people. There are a lot of good people out there. But there are also a lot of people that threw their talent away, and it boiled down to an attitude. It's not a problem until we make it a problem. Guys, we lived on that for middle school. Let's not create problems for yourself. Privileges equal responsibility. So many kids getting confused. They think it's their right. You think you have rights. Most of the time you don't. Most of the time it's a privilege. Whether you're at home, you're at school, you're at the workplace. It's a privilege. And if you're going to be given a privilege, you've got to be responsible enough to have it. It's that simple. The 3 R's. Respect, responsibility, and readiness. Every day you get up, you've got to ask yourself those questions. Am I ready? Am I responsible? Did I take responsibility for getting my homework done? Getting things I needed to do? Did I take that responsibility? Work ethic equals success. I knew nothing else but that. I figured if there was nothing else that I could do, I could at least work. I could at least work hard. I come from a generation, and I came from a culture that's who you were. You were either lazy or you worked hard. And the people who worked hard usually were successful. My parents were my role models. They worked very, very hard, and they had very little. But every day they worked hard. Today they're elderly. They're 87 and 85, and they did a great job going through life, just out of work ethic. Your character is what you do when no one is watching. Guys, it's easy under fluorescent lights. It's easy in assembly. It's not easy when you're by yourself. You have to make those tough decisions. We're not always going to be there to hold your hand. TCB time, I was just talking about that today, kids. There's a time to play, and there's a time to work. And you have to be able to distinguish between the two. That's probably going to be the first thing that makes you or breaks you. When most kids go to college, they struggle with that because for the first time, there's no tardy bells. There's no teachers telling you to get out of the hall. There's no mom and dad telling you when to come in at night, who to go to class. None of that. That all goes by the wayside. That all goes by the wayside. So you have to know when it's time to take care of business, and you have to know when it's time to play. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying yourself. But you got to know the difference between the two. At this time, what I'd like to do, all right, I would like to open it up to the floor. Okay, I'd like to open it up to the 8th graders first. Do you have any questions that's in the back of your mind that you would like to ask? Guys that you can trust these guys. Is there anybody who would like a question? Throw the question down, and then we'll let these guys field it. What do you got, 8th graders? What do you got? Don't be shy now. Yes, Ryan. Stand up so we can hear you.
All y'all's food better than it is here?
Yes, they said definitely.
All right.
And you know, and Ryan, that's a good question because as you get older, they for some reason they seem to give you more options and you have more things to pick from. It's more of like a cafeteria setting instead of here's your peas and mashed potatoes. So yeah, it probably, and they say it is, correct? Okay. Another question. Could be academics, it could be lunch. Stand up. What's it like to be mixed with all the, you mean older kids? Okay, all right. He's concerned, will he be in classes with the older kids? How do they separate the classes? We know that there's freshman English, sophomore English, but is there any other classes where you're mixed? Your electives. Okay, he wants to know what's that like.
Well, besides like PE and health, which you have to take here, you can take like, there are like over 100 different electives you can take to high school. You can take drama, you can take any music class you want, acting, what else is it? Like, be in class, like say you take a health class, you'll be in class, you can be in class with a senior, junior, sophomore. But
Is that hard? Is that intimidating? I think that's what he's asking. Is it intimidating at all?
not really, because I actually help you out. They know as much as you do if they're taking class.
Good question. Okay, it's not that intimidating. Stand up.
Okay, well, she asked if there was an anime club at the high school. I think they just made it like in the past month. So as far as I know, yes.
Okay, that's the best we can do. Yes, stand up. Okay, is the security better at the high school than it is at middle schools? Anybody want to answer that?
Yeah, ever since like the Sandy Hook incident, like now, like all the doors are locked at all times. Like no one can just come in like when they want to. They have to go through the main entrance, and then the secretary has to let them in. So you're safe, and it's a closed campus, so you're good.
And there's also a school resource officer on campus. A school resource officer on campus. Okay, who else would like to? Yes, stand up. We gotta be loud for everybody here.
How many bullying situations have there been?
Okay, he was wondering if there's a lot of bullying situations for you kids that can't hear. Is there a lot of bullying situations on up to high school? Can anybody answer that?
Not really. I mean, there's like, people will play around, but there's no really like bullying going on. I don't think, I don't see it.
And like, like there's no empty hallways either. There's always a teacher out in the hallway, so unless like you're in the restroom or so, like there's no opportunity where anyone can bully you.
It kind of goes back to one of the 10-point value systems, like the 3 R's. If you respect like everybody, they'll respect you back. Up at the high school, it's really cool because everybody respects one another. I mean, you show them respect, they'll show you respect, or they just kind of won't look your way type thing. So there's really not any bullying at all.
Good to know. Very good answer. Good to know. I think that the number one thing you guys hear on your announcements every day, treat everyone with respect. That goes through life. Nobody likes to be disrespected. Okay, more questions. Yes, please stand up. Make it nice and loud. No, I'm serious. You can't do that. Then sit down.
How do you guys feel about that? If you're coming to
Okay, I'm going to help you because I know the people sitting over there can't hear the question, so I'll try to repeat it. She asked, okay, as you're moving up to the high school, and that's a normal, and she asked a good question, it's normal, all right? When you move up to the high school, how are freshmen looked upon? All right, does that look like, you know, they're going to tease you, bully you, make fun of you, or are they going to respect you? So these guys would know, they went through it.
Okay, well, it really depends on the freshman. Sometimes you can tell, that, hey, yep, that's a freshman right there. Because they don't know the 10-point value system, or they didn't follow it. Like, you can tell because they're just messing around, being a little ignorant. But, I mean, as long as you're in there and you respect everybody, kind of the seniority lines kind of fall away and you forget that, oh, that's a freshman, or you forget, oh, that's a senior. You kind of just sometimes forget as long as you respect everybody.
That's a good question. It's a good answer. One of the key lines on that would be, Maturity. 8th graders, maturity. So if you go up there and you act mature, I guess they would respect you and you'd blend in. And like Sydney said, it kind of, all those kind of fall by the wayside. But if you want to go up there and giggle like little kids, okay, and act foolish, I'm sure you're going to get somebody's going to recognize that, and I don't know if it's going to be in a positive way. Yes, please stand up.
How easy or difficult is it to graduate?
Good, real good question academically. How easy or hard is it to graduate early, earn more credits, and get out early? Who would like to take that? Field that.
It's really hard. I'm not gonna lie. You're gonna have to take like your junior, senior, all of that in a matter of 3 years. So, I mean, if you're gonna go for it, go for it. But
To graduate from high school, first you have to have 20 credits. You can only take 7 credits every year. So there's no early release. You can't have any study halls. You're going to be working every period. And if you're up to it, I mean, you can graduate early if that's what you want to do. Yeah, but you have to have the work ethic.
Okay, thank you. So it's possible, but by far, it's not going to be an easy road. Okay, by far. All right. Any other questions on this side? 8th graders? Yes, please stand up. Okay, and that's a good question. And no, really, I mean, we shouldn't giggle. Because what I tell parents a lot of times, even here, we all worry about the academics and those things, but in everyday life, you worry about the little things. And she asked, how do they do lunch? And that's a good question. All right, so how many lunch periods do you have? Are you mixed? Is it mixed with different grade levels and things like that? Because I know it's a big school up there.
After high school, they have like 3-period lunches. Like you'll have either 5th lunch, 6th lunch, or 7th lunch. Like they break it down into like different lunch periods so you're not all crammed together.
How about these ones?
You're in there with like seniors, like basically everybody. So.
And like, there's no more getting caught up. We used to do that, calling up by tables.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
There's no more getting caught up by tables. You have a little bit more responsibility. And like, you just go up, you can go up whenever you want to. And you guys suffer double block periods.
Yes.
All right, there's no more double block periods. All periods are 45 minutes. I know I didn't like English. English for an hour and 20 minutes. Couldn't do it.
All right, so you're getting away from block classes. Lunch, okay, you have a longer lunch period there than you do here, and but you're mixed in with the older kids. The older you get, the funny thing in life is you can't always wait to get to the next level. But there's a little bit of a trick to that. You can't wait to get from middle school to the high school because now you have longer lunch periods, you don't get called up by tables, and you're mixed in with the older kids. The little drawback on that is you're mixed in with the older kids. Sometimes that's intimidating, and they're not calling you up by tables. So if you're not hustling, you'd be dead last every day. I couldn't wait to get to high school. I couldn't wait to get to college. But every time you do that, you have more responsibility. And that is where, that's where it gets tricky. More questions? Yes?
What's it like being divided with the other 2 middle schools?
Good, very good question. I was waiting for that to come up. Okay? All right, Jordy will take this one. The question was, what's it like when you finally come together with the other middle schools? Because we have one set of values. Basically, the 3 middle schools are under the same type of umbrella academically, but each middle school has its own personality. These guys will be able to know that.
When you combine like the 3 middle schools, you're just like super excited, like, oh yeah, I got my friends at Will Center and Liberty. And you're just so excited just looking for all the middle schools. That's really cool.
Anybody else? Down here.
It's really cool because you get to see like what they did at other middle schools that you might not necessarily do here. I mean, my best friends are from Liberty. Once you get to high school, you don't know that you're from Liberty, you're from Heritage, or you're from Wilson. And it even gets even more trickier if you're in sports, if you're in clubs. Like volleyball, I don't know who's Liberty, I don't know who's Heritage. It's very interesting to see how easy everybody merges, and you really don't know that who's from.
And like also, like Like all the kids, you just meet like a whole bunch of new people. And when it comes by sports, heritage is always the best experience anyways. But and then like just like when you combine with all the teams, like say you have a good kid from Liberty or a good kid from Wilson, like when you bring them all together, that's like one really good team. And it's just exciting to play with them.
Good question, good answers. What else we have? Yes. Okay, good question. I don't know. Sydney, what are assemblies like at the high school level?
Okay, you really don't have as many assemblies as you do here. Promise you that. They're all usually in the auditorium, and they're usually pretty short and sweet because teachers love having you guys in class. So they're not that bad. I mean, they're not as entertaining as these ones. Like, unfortunately, you don't get candy very often, and I don't get to see this guy. But they're not bad.
Okay, you have to understand you have approximately 1,600 students up there. So it's harder to have assemblies unless you start breaking it down into grade level. All right, so I do know that. My wife was an administrator at Newark High School for 11 years. And so I know a little bit of insight, and I do know them, the administrators up there. And it's just harder to manage, and because, again, it's so big. All right, next question. Okay, good question. Here we go back to the basics. Here was the question was, can you get lost? Now, I know that, again, I've never been based at the high school, but from the little bit that I do know, it's a good question because at one time, the high school was built as a campus setting. So you had to go outside and go to different buildings and different routes. Now it's under one roof. So let's see how these kids feel. They probably have done both.
Now since it's like closed campus, is not like you can't get lost. Like when it was open campus, like it was kind of confusing because you had construction going on. Like now since it's like all together, I mean the classes are right next to each other. So.
Sydney?
Like earlier when it was like a bigger campus, it was a little difficult, and it's still a little bit difficult because the hallways look so similar. But there are labels in front of each hallway to tell you which hallway it is. They're all labeled by letter, so it'll tell you exactly where you're going, and you just need to know whether you're upstairs or downstairs. So it won't be that bad.
Okay, I'm going to ask the high school kids something. I'm going to play off of that. Here we have wings per grade level. Now, you have to tell me, they have at the high school, do you have wings by subject? Okay.
All of our wings are by subject. So E building is our English wing, J building is our history wing, G is like Spanish, French, foreign languages, and our F building is our math wing, and our D is our science wing. And K building is this random TV and media arts, drawing, ceramics, and everything else.
Thank you, and that was a good question. All right, what else do we have? This is your chance to ask your friends, your peers. Okay, go ahead, ask. Stand up. Okay, do they have transportation at the high school? Emma, take that one.
Yeah, they do. I believe there are designated like areas where buses can pick kids up, and then you also have like friends who might be older than you who can drive and such things.
Okay. Yes, go ahead, stand up. Do you do the Pledge of Allegiance every morning? The answer to that is no. Okay, yes. Good question. As you guys all know, the advanced math down here is algebra and geometry. When they get to the high school, what math will they slide into? Will they be in there with older kids?
Okay, well, as of right now, I'm in AP Calculus. So at the high school, we have everything ranging from things such as like financial math all the way up to Calculus BC. So if right now, if you're in 8th grade and you're taking algebra, you will go into geometry. If you're taking algebra 2, you go into pre-cal. And do you guys go to algebra 1 if you're just regular? All right, then if you're just like regular, you go to algebra 1.
Oh, and if you're in algebra, geometry. If you're in geometry right now, you slide into algebra 2, and then you only have algebra 2 and pre-calculus to get all your 4 credits. So you could technically not have to take a math class as a junior or a senior, but take a math class as a senior. So.
Okay, yes. Okay, good question. That'll be a good question for all you guys. What is the rules as far as electronics at the high school? Who wants to take it?
I mean, electronics are kind of the same. Like, if you're there are some teachers who are different, but there are also teachers who will treat you more like as a college student. Like, they will let you have your phone out, but you have to know when that time is appropriate and when it's not. But then there's other teachers who will have things called jails that they put your phones in. If they catch you on it, then it's in their little.
You know, and that kind of goes back to the 10-point value system. Privileges equal what? There you go. All right? Yes.
Yeah, awesome. We have this thing called BYOD. It's our own Wi-Fi, so I got you. You guys have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, we just started that not too long ago.
Yeah, so some teachers, they let you use your device for schoolwork, but like, if you're on your, say you're texting, some periods, like, some teachers won't even care to let you text, like it's your schoolwork. You have to be responsible enough to get your schoolwork done. If you're texting, it's not their problem. And if you fail, you fail. That's what responsibility comes.
Okay. All right. So, you know, guys, again, when I say you apply these 10-point value systems at any age, all right? And I mean, you just heard them talk about to bring your own device. What do you do with electronics? Again, we're getting back to maturity. We're getting back to privileges equal responsibility. We're getting back to it's not a problem until you make it a problem. You'd be surprised how much privileges that you can receive if you're mature enough to handle the responsibility. Questions? Yes. How many mean teachers are there? Okay, so we want to take that question and tweak that in the terminology that I think that you're asking is how many teachers are maybe very difficult in their requirements, okay, and don't have too much wiggle room. Because I don't want to portray the image out there that there's mean teachers and not mean teachers. There's teachers that are more demanding than other teachers. More subjects are demanding than others. Who would like to take it?
I mean, every student has a different experience with each teacher. So you can't really classify them as mean or not. It just goes back to your work ethic. Like if there's a teacher who gives you a lot of work, like one person will be like, oh, well, they're too hard on me. But then there's another person who's on top of everything and it's just breezing by. So it just really goes by the work ethic. So there's really no mean teacher.
It also goes in that how you treat your teachers. If you disrespect them, and they're not gonna treat you much respect. They're gonna give you your work, but they're always gonna help you. But say you disrespect them, they're gonna be a little mean to you, and it really just goes on you.
And lastly, it depends on your attitude. Not joking, if, like, I struggle with a few subjects, and sometimes I can get a little down on myself and have a bad attitude, like, oh, I'm going to chemistry next. But, I mean, as long as you, like, keep it positive, and your teachers will try to positively enforce you as well, so.
You know, part of that, I changed one of the 10-point value systems. When these guys started, the R wasn't the 3 R's. I put that in there because I thought we could play off of that a little bit more, but Jordy got it. Respect gets respect. That was the original, because that's one of the value systems that I traveled through with my life, and I'm this old now. But I came up from your age to my age And basically, that's the way I went through life, and I believe that that still works. Respect gets respect. You respect your teachers, they respect you. You respect your classmates, they respect you. You can't have it both ways. You know, you have to understand when you go into that teacher's classroom, that's very important to that teacher. That's something that teacher has dedicated their life to. They went through high school, then they got a college degree, then in their college degree, they majored in a specific area, and so if you walk into a math class, they're excited about math. They're excited about teaching math. They're excited for you. And if you go in and you disrespect through your attitude, the Sydney just talked about, and the respect we talked about, you are going to have a problem. They're not going to treat you like little kids. Just be like going to somebody's workplace, somebody's home. If you disrespect that, you can probably imagine that you won't get a whole lot in return. Questions? Who has not? Who have I not chose so far? Okay, yes. Stand up. Okay, that question that she asked, it was put in a different term. Okay, it was there since I was a kid. Okay, this is called freshman beatdown day. The question was, do you have a freshman beatdown day? We used to call it freshman initiation. Okay, and the high school students that we have here with us today say no, that does not occur. It's a thing of the past. Doesn't happen. So you can relax on that one. Who else? Yes, please stand up. Is there such a thing as senior prank day and the pranks go on to the freshmen? Okay, you combine two things. Yes, there is a senior prank day, but it does not affect the freshmen. Yes? What happens if you're late to class?
Well, at the high school, if you're late, you get 5 minutes between every class. Some buildings are a little far away, so you really don't have much time to talk. But if you get 3 tardies to class, it's automatic ISS. And then sometimes you have after school suspension.
Okay. All right. Now you notice the maturity level. Notice that middle school, you're tardies, and and I yell hubba hubba, hubba hubba, hurry up. Okay. Now you go to high school, there is no hubba hubba. Boom, you're tardy, you get 3, and all at once you're after school detentions. No questions asked. Go to college. Can't wait to go to college. Tardy for class, professor locks the door, gives you an F. Jeez, I'm all grown up, that's not fair. Come tardy to work. They'll talk to you one time, then they'll fire you. And then you try to figure out how you're going to pay your bills. So, we're trying to bring you along, but you have to understand, as you get older, maturity level and responsibility, it increases. This is a good talk we're having. Who have I not chose so far? Stand up and ask a question. Can you have a job while you're in high school, or is there jobs in the high school? Is there any type of work in the high school that students can pick up? No, not really. Well, if you're going to high school, because you do have time to maintain a job.
I mean, when you're in high school, you can have a job. Like, I have a job when I go to school. I mean, it's not, it's just your hours. If you get late hours and it might affect you the next day because you're so tired. I mean, it's possible to have a job in high school.
Again, you go back to the 10-point value system. You've got to be able to time management. Yes, stand up. Pardon me?
Yes, they stood another food truck up.
Okay. All right. Yes. On the last day, do they prank you? Okay. They answered that question. It's a senior prank day, but it's not on kids. Okay, it's usually something to do with the campus or classrooms. Okay? All right, who has not? I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to ask a question. Okay? Because this is your chance to ask kids that are a little bit older than you who went through what you went through. No question. Yes? Okay, do you guys have any type of fun day like on the last day of school like you do in the middle school? Yeah, okay, now, you know what, I'm glad they said that. Okay, because that was a question, and so I just want you to understand about maturity and growing up. All right, now, they have exams. Last day of school, you take your exams, and differences at the high school when they take exams at the high school, whether it's, whether it's the end of the year exams or midterms, then they release you. Then they release you. So they treat you like young adults. You take your tests, you take your exams, then you're released. So, they don't, it's nice at high school, but they're not blowing up balloons either. Okay, so you got to understand, that's why we try to bring you along, each grade level, a little bit more with maturity. Okay, we good right now? Okay, we have a few more minutes. Let me turn this, give me 1 second. I want to ask the 7th graders. 7th graders. I know we're 2 years away, and sometimes that's like light years away when you're in 7th grade. Okay? Yes? Good question. Now what we have here, and then again, we're going to go back to time management. Time management. Now my biggest problem going through school, and I'm a lot older than you guys, is that question right there. If you're involved in extracurricular activities, whether it be sports, whether it be fine arts, whether it be a club, okay, then how do you manage the time with your academics? Is it possible? Okay, and how do you do it? Let's handle it. Emma?
Okay, well, as far as sports go, you usually have practice after school every day, unless you have a game that day. And practice only lasts for like 2.5 hours. So after practice, you can go home and you can do your homework. That's not a problem. On game nights, you just need to know that you have homework and you have to do it. It's not as, oh, I have a game, I'm not going to do it. No, you need to do it. And it's even nice that we have intervention, which is a half-hour period. And if you don't get small work done at home, you can do it in that period, but you can't rely on it. As far as other extracurricular activities, I volunteer twice a week for an hour each day. And on top of sports, I find time to do it. You just have to know when you can socialize and when it's time to get down to business.
Gee, that sounds a little bit like TCB time. Time to play, time to work. Funny how it all comes back together, doesn't it? 7th graders. Anybody else? Stand up.
How often do you get to go to your lockers during school?
And you know what? That's an excellent question. That is an excellent question. That is an excellent question. She asked, how often can you go to your lockers? Because here, we only let them go, morning, lunch, and then after school.
Okay, there's no specified time when you get to go to your locker. And the problem is that your locker can be anywhere in the school. So I personally go to my locker twice a day, and it's 2 in the morning and then right after school. If you gotta manage your time, like that 5 minutes you get in between classes, you gotta figure out, well, can I make it to my class and my locker? A lot of kids don't even use their lockers and just lug around their book bags all day, so it's up to you.
They treat you like a young adult, but then you can't whine and go, yeah, I didn't make it to my locker. You can't do that. You can't do that. Yes? What is the rule about book bags? Who wants to field this one?
You can keep whatever bag on you.
You can have your book bag anytime, anywhere, any place. Sound good to you? Okay. All right, over here. Ms. Brown, have her stand up. Ms. Brown, I cannot hear her.
Limited number of extra classes they're allowed to take, like electives.
How many electives are you allowed to take? 2? Shaq says 2. Come on, guys. We're watching. Okay, what do we got?
Okay, it really depends on whether you're taking a semester class or a whole year class. Currently, I'm taking 2 whole year classes for my electives plus my extracurriculars, or not extracurriculars, your academics. But if you take like semester classes, usually you can take like freshman year. I think I took 2 because I had 1 period left. It really depends on how many periods you have left in your schedule.
It was a good question. All right, 7th graders. 7th graders. Anybody else have another question? 7th graders. Stand up and ask it.
How challenging is it to write an essay on Lord of the Flies if the book is still a required reading?
Man, I could not hear that question.
How hard is it to write a book or a report on the book Lord of the Flies?
Okay. Did anybody ever have to write a report or an essay on the Lord of the Flies?
We only had to do like activities for Lord of the Flies. We didn't have to write a report.
Okay. That would vary. Yes, great. It's Gracie, stand up.
Are any of the teachers like fun and crazy?
Yeah, we can't hear.
Are any of the teachers fun and crazy?
Are any of the teachers very outgoing?
I'm gonna say Miss Murph as my first answer. Yeah, there are actually quite a few teachers who are actually really fun and outgoing. Like a lot of the arts teachers fun and outgoing. Like I think the band teacher he's pretty fun. He'll get you interested.
Okay. All right. I'm going to make one more sweep. All right, go ahead. You'll be the last underclassman. Maybe I'll get back to you. Go ahead. How many principals are there at the high school? Okay, you have 4 administrators. They have their head principal, and we just call them principals and administrators, and kids kind of get used to the slang. But basically, it's your head principal, and then you have 2 assistant principals, and then you have a dean of students. So basically, you have 4 administrators up there at all times. But you have to understand that all averages out. We have 2 here with 533 kids. They have 4 with almost 1,600 kids. So, it averages out. So if you need an administrator, you can get to them, but you got to try to get to them, okay? You got to make an effort. All right, I had another question over here. Yes, young lady, stand up. Okay. No, okay? She asked if you get recess, okay? Here's how this goes. So let me explain to you real quick. You don't get recess either. We call it recess. We call it lunch recess for you kids, all right? But basically, we've done that different ways. When I first started, we had lunch, we had character education classes. So some of the kids got to eat, some of the kids went to character education. One year it was lunch and then study hall. And so what we tried to do to give you kids a little bit of a break is now we call it lunch recess because we have a bigger school, we have nice outside facilities, we have a nice big gym. So, but really, in reality, you'll find out that recess really actually, the actual term, it really actually stops like at elementary. Then middle school, it's whatever you want to make it. So we made it about 3 different things in the last 6 to 7 years. So in high school, you're treated more of young adults. Okay. Last one. Good. Excellent question. Now, he's asked 2 excellent questions, academics, so you can see where his thought process is going. He wants to know if you can earn college credits while in high school. All right? We'll let these, you guys can field this, okay?
I know for a fact that if you start taking like algebra and geometry now in middle school, you can take calculus, and that counts as a college credit. And once you go to calculus, you can do calculus. There's another calculus class, and after that you can go up to the actually up to the branch. You get to leave the high school and you get to go to the Ohio University of Newark, and you can take a math class up there and get college credit.
Yeah, like he said, there's several opportunities for pretty much all of the classes, but you can't really go for college credit until about sophomore year, and only you can take history, and then junior and senior year you can take a lot more, because like currently I'm taking 3, and like next year I'm taking like 4 or 5, and possibly post-secondary. So yeah, there are opportunities for college credits, but the only thing is you can't just take the class and get it. You have to take a test at the end of the year that you have to pass to get the credit.
Okay, guys, thank you. You were very well behaved, okay? You showed your maturity. Mr. Dunham has taped this. The questions are online or will be on the webpage. These students here are fellow Lions who will always be a Lion. Please give them a round of applause.